I can't spell. Oh, okay, that's all right. You tell somebody, well, I'm not good at math. Oh, we understand. You tell somebody you can't read, their whole facial expression change, and I mean, it's just the whole concept, you know. And at this time, I didn't know what because when I was in school, the kids used to pick on me, take my lunch money, take my money, whatever I had, they wanted, they take it. And so I had to come up with some for a reason. Why am I dealing with this? So I came up with the conclusion. I said, well, the kids have to have somebody to pick on. I said, oh, well, that's me. So once I accepted the fact that I'm just here for them to have, so they can have somebody to pick on, it's kind of like a out of body experience. It's
Yes,
like I
sir.
became two different people.
I
And
understand.
when I went to school, everyone I had to make sure this one particular guy was the bully. I had to make sure I knew what color shirt he had on, because if I could see that shirt out the corner of my eyes, oh, here he comes. I'm getting ready to get hit. So I would just prepare myself, because I know he's getting ready to come up and hit me, you know. And that kind of out of body experience kept me doing different things. And as I progressed, and I finally got a job at General Motors after 2 years of uh, hanging out with the guys on the river, and then that created more problems, because I would always hear this voice in the back of my head, you're dumb, you can't do this, you can't do this. So I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to do the job that they gave me. So I would steal parts from the plant and take them home and practice. And so I figured, I said, well, if I become the best worker in the plant, in my department, then the foreman don't have no reason to say anything to me. So I became the best worker. And then the guy started getting married. I'm like, well, I just want to fit in. I just want to be a part of society. So the guys were getting married. I said, well, I'm going to get married. And then I said, well, wait a minute now, hold up. If you get married, your child going to be like you. I said, no, I'm not going to be able to deal with my child being like me. So I said, well, how am I going to do this? I said, well, marry one with some children. Okay, there we go. We figured that out. So I met a woman that had 5 kids. And I was still teased because you met a woman with 5 kids. And so as time went on, then I had her daughter, and then she was like, I couldn't really enjoy her birth, because I was so afraid that she was going to be like me. And so they had Sesame Street on TV. And so I said, okay, I knew that you watch Sesame Street. They say you learn how to read. So I started watching Sesame Street with her. I said, well, I can learn how to read, you know, and help with her, along with her. But she started doing better than me, and I quit.
I understand. Definitely understand.
So after, I mean, the marriage to her mother, that didn't last long. It lasted about 14, 15 years. And then I started going through, doing a lot of drugs, alcohol, suicidal attempts, thoughts again. And a friend of mine had suggested for me to go to Daymont West, which is a place here in Dayton.
Yes, sir.
And I went to Daymont West and to get some nerve pills to get high.
Hmm.
I wasn't going for no treatment, just going to get high. And the counselor said, well, what's your problem? I said, well, I'm going through a divorce. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt myself. I want some nerve pills. He said, is there anything else going on? I said, well, I said no, but that inner personality said, we can't read. And I balled my fist up because I knew he was going to start laughing. And I was getting ready to knock him out real quick.
I
And
understand.
but he said, I can help you with that. And I'm like, oh, okay. He said, well, you got to take an IQ test. I'm like, I just told you I can't read. He said, I can give it to you orally. And I said, well, okay, I'm 40 years old, 35, I'm 30, almost 40 years old. I said, well, I should have learned something. I said, okay, I decided to take the test. I took the test, and he called me a couple of days later and said that I had to come back and take the test again because they had made a mistake on it, and that the numbers didn't come out right. It was too high for me not to be able to read and write to score that high.
Right.
And I said, well, y'all gave me the test. So he said, well, we're going to give it to you again. So they gave it to him again, and I scored even higher. And they could not explain how I could score so high and not be able to read and write.
Right.
So they sent me to an educational specialist and a psychologist. The educational specialist spent 6 months telling me how smart I was I spent 6 months cussing her out because nobody ever told me I was smart.
Right.
And then her husband was a psychologist, so he asked me to come in and talk to this little girl that was from Kettering that was dyslexic.
Right.
And I said, I don't know her. He said, yes, you do. I said, no, I don't. He said, yes, you do. So I decided to come in, and I came in, this little girl, her mother, her sister, and it was kind of like an out-of-body experience again. This one person had to sit down and was explaining to this mother what her daughter was going through. And I'm like scratching my head, like, man, you gonna get us in trouble. You don't know what you're talking about. So the mother listened for a little bit, and she said, asked the doctor, why'd you let him read my daughter's file? The doctor kind of laughed a little bit and said, she said, well, what's so funny? He said, oh, he can't read. So she said, how is it that you know so much about my daughter? And I'm scratching my head, I don't know. But God said,
Come on. There we go.
God said, what she is going through, you've already been through.
That's right.
That's how you know who that is.
That's right.
So I'm like, okay. So before I did my first motivational speech, I was on my way to Chicago, 1983, I think it was. I was speaking at the International ACLD, Association for Children and Adults with Learning Disability. It cost $45 to come hear me speak, my first motivational speech. And before we left, her mother called the office back and said, tell Mr. Harris thanks. Her daughter had made honor roll.
Amen. Amen.
God spoke to me again. He said, this is why. This is why you had to endure. This is why you went through everything that you went through, so now you can be of service. So for the past 33 years, I've been trying to enlighten society to what we deal with on an everyday basis. I don't want another person or another child to have to endure what I had to endure. My life right now, the program, the Dare to Be Great program, my wife and I designed that program. We designed our own programs. I went to Rolfe Middle School to do a speech, and I told the teacher, the principal, that it's not going to do me no good to talk to the kids when the teacher don't understand. And she agreed. Then I said, okay, it's not going to do any good to talk to the students and the parents and the teachers. Anyway, I was there for 12 hours that day, and they paid me very well, so I can't complain about that. And most speakers come in and light a fire up on the kids. And then if you're not there on a regular basis, that fire start to go out.
You're right.
And I know some speakers, I've hung around with some of the Les and Harvey Austin, some of the big speakers, and they're very good. But I get caught up in because once that fire starts going out, I'm feeling guilty. So I went in and spoke to these kids, and I told the teacher, if you get a couple of kids that want to talk to me, I'll come back on my own free time and I won't charge you anything.
Right.
So she called me in a couple of weeks, and she said, she had some kids. I said, how many? She said, about 45. I'm like, 45? I'm thinking I was going to hear stories about I don't have this kind of gym shoe, I don't have a TV. But I went back and I heard horror stories. I'm being molested by my mother's boyfriend, my mama's on crack. I just couldn't leave those kids like that. And so I told her, give me a classroom and I'll come back once a week on a regular basis and I'll show you what can happen. That top 10 Afro-American Male Award, the proclamation from the State House, and the Community Service Award, all of those awards came from that program. We did that program for 4 years out of my pocket. And I got to the point when I retired from GM, I couldn't afford to continue the program, you know. So that's basically my story. I have the Mystic Gentlemen. Modeling Troupe is a group of men that I have, that I teach. I also teach professional, I also teach modeling. And we did a couple of fashion shows, and like I said, for fundraisers, you know, to give back into the community. And I mean, there's so many things that my wife and I had put different programs together so we can be of some service here in our community. So I just trying to give back to what was given to me.
Well, Mr. Harris, it has been a blessing to hear your story. Let me say this to you. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure to know you and to meet you and to know that you knew my dad, man.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
We thank you for coming today,
Thank you
man.
so much. Appreciate it, man. Thank
And
you.
most definitely, we'll have to have you back because
glad to.
you definitely couldn't say it all today. And I know you have more to say, and it's more that people out here would like to hear from you.
Appreciate
We
it.
thank you again, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I got something exciting for you guys. Deacon Davis is about to come back, and he's about to blow you guys' socks off as he sings another song. Go ahead, Deacon Davis.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
With Jesus, falling in love with Jesus, falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I ever done. Oh, falling in love with Jesus. I've fallen in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I've ever done. Oh, in his arms I feel protected. In his arms, never disconnected. In his arms, I feel protected. There's no place I'd rather be. Lord, in his arms, I feel protected. In his arms, I'm never disconnected. Oh, in his arms, I feel protected. There's no place I'd rather be. Falling in love with Jesus. I've fallen in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I've ever done. I love, oh, I'm falling with Jesus.
We develop quality citizens who keep our core, our country, and our communities side by side on the winning side. Not for glory, but for honor. For a code that isn't written or spoken, but lived. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's the battle cry of our fighting spirit. Battles won. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
Mr. Harris, your story really touched my soul. And I'm sorry I didn't have my box of tissues out there like I said. Come on out, Minister Clay. My brother, Minister Clay. Thank you. Thank you for your story. Like I said, we want to bring you back.
Yes, sir.
And my co-host, Pastor Greer. I'd like to thank you also. And my main man, Richard Davis. Good job today. Come on over. God bless you, brother. Come on and join us, Mr. Harris. So I'd like to thank all these gentlemen for coming on the show today. If anyone would like to appear on our show, all you have to do is call 937-401-0585. If you don't get an answer right away, leave a message and a phone number, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Matter of fact, ASAP. Mr. Harris, did you have a website you want to leave?
Yes, my website is dyslexia, www.dyslexiaspeaks.com.
And
And my phone number is 937-278-6840.
And Minister Clay, did you have anything? Did you want to wait for people to reach you?
If you need me an email, it's James H. Clay.
Hold on, wait.
James H. Clay 66@gmail.com. My phone number is 614-507-1827. And you can find me down on Salem Avenue, corner at Grace United Methodist Church, doing my work there.
And if anytime you ever need my brother to come sing for you, just call 937-401-0585, and we'll get him in touch with you, and he will come and enlighten you with a beautiful song. And Pastor Greer, he's always preaching somewheres. Amen. And if you need Pastor Greer to come in and give a sermon at your church, you can also call. Well, matter of fact, Pastor, you have a number you have for them?
Yes, sir. You can 937-250-8526.
All right. And once again, thank y'all so very much for tuning in, and look for us next time on You Don't Know My Story.
That's my all-timer.
God bless you.